The lesson outcome for this video is I can use the quadratic formula to solve. Now we're going to actually just continue practicing the quadratic formula we learned in the previous lesson because we need to learn how to avoid some of the common errors that are made while using it. So I'm going to ask that you have your calculator out and that you are following along and trying each and every step with me and not just copying it blindly. Okay? So here we go. The first example we're going to do is 2x squared minus 4x plus 1 equals 0. So the first thing we do is fill in that a is 2, again, the number that is in front of x squared. B is negative 4. Sorry about that, negative 4. And C is 1. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and put those into the formula where they belong. X equals negative b, and b is negative 4, plus or minus the square root of b, which is negative 4, squared, minus 4 times a times c and get that square root over the whole thing, all divided by 2 times a. All right, again, I want to keep pointing this out. Our two b values right here have become negative 4 because that's what b is. Our two a values here have become a 2 because that's what a is, and our c value is 1. All right, now for the simplifying where some of the mistakes happen, so we have to be really careful. So first of all, x equals, and it says negative negative 4. Negative negative 4 is positive 4, plus or minus the square root. Negative 4 squared is negative 4 times negative 4, which is 16, minus 4 times 2 times 1. Well, 4 times 2 is 8, times 1 is 8. So this is going to be 16 minus 8, all divided by 2 times 2, which is 4. So x equals 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 minus 8, which is 8, divided by 4. So x equals 4 plus or minus 2.828. And again, 3 decimal places rounded correctly, all divided by 4. And now we're going to break this up where 1 is plus and 1 is minus. So we get x equals 4 plus 2.828 divided by 4, and x equals 4 minus 2.828 divided by 4. Again, be very careful with this last step. Make sure you add the numerator or subtract the numerator, depending on which one you're doing, and hit enter and then divide by 4. Please do this on your own calculator and find your answers and make sure that they match mine. Okay, so what you should get here is 1.707 and 0.293. Again, check with your own work that you are arriving at the same answers as I am. Okay, so now what I would like you to do is try this one on your own. Okay, pause the video, try it out, and then check back to see how you did. And if you can't find how you made your mistake, ask me about that in class tomorrow. Because the only way to get better at this is to practice it on your own. So go ahead and give it a try. Okay, and the solutions are 2 and negative 0.333. Again, check with me in class if you did not get the right solutions. All right, and the last thing I want to do in this video is show you that factoring and the quadratic formula will both sometimes give you the same solution. So first we're going to solve this first example by factoring. So because the value in front of x squared is 1, we can just use the quick method of factoring. So I'm going to write the negative 28 here. And I'm going to write down my factors of 28. 1 times 28, but one of them has to be negative. 2 times 14, but one of them has to be negative, and 4 times 7, but one of them has to be negative. Which of these factor pairs adds up to our middle term of positive 12? Well, these two right here add up to positive 12. So we can write our two sets of parentheses and put x here and here, a minus 2 and a plus 14. And then we can solve using the zero product property. X minus 2 equals 0, and x plus 14 equals 0, and solve them. So x equals 2, and x equals negative 14. Now, if we use the quadratic formula over here, where a is 1, b is 12, and c is negative 28, let's see what happens. All right, x equals, I'm going to go through this kind of quick. If you want to pause it and try it on your own, you can. X equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. X equals negative 12 plus or minus the square root of 12 squared is 144 minus 4 times 1 times 28. Excuse me, that's 4 times 1 times negative 28. So we're going to get negative 112 over 2 times 1, which is 2. So then we get x equals negative 12 plus or minus the square root of, remember right here this becomes a plus, this minus a minus, and 144 plus 112 is 256, all divided by 2. X equals negative 12 plus or minus, the square root of 256 is 16 over 2. Okay, now we're going to set up our two different equations, and usually I put my arrows down like this and put the plus and the minus. I'm going to do these over here. I ran out of space. So x equals negative 12 plus 16 divided by 2, and x equals negative 12 minus 16 divided by 2. Negative 12 plus 16 is 4 divided by 2, and that will be x equals 4 divided by 2 is 2. And x equals negative 12 minus 16 is negative 28 divided by 2, and negative 28 divided by 2 is negative 14. And what you see here is that we have the same two solutions there as we did over here, 2 and negative 14. So we're really doing the same type of thing. We're solving for x in this equation in two different methods.